Today I'm going to be talking about glazing. So in this video I want to try and go through the basics of glazing in 5 minutes or less. If you're not sure what glazing is, you can see an example of it in my How to Paint Flames video, which I'll link up here. So what is glazing? Basically, with glazing, we're going to take a paint, we're going to water it down until it's really runny consistency, almost just like a coloured water. Then we load up the brush and wipe most of the paint off onto a paper towel, similar to how you would do with dry brushing. We want to keep the point on the brush. And then, if we're highlighting, we make smooth brush strokes from the dark area to the area we want to highlight. Or if we're making shadows, we go from the bright area into the area that we want to make shadows. The reason for this is because the place where you take the brush away from the model is where the most paint is going to be left. So obviously that is the area where we want the most highlight or the most shadow to be. Once that glaze is dried, we can then go over it again and again and again, building up those thin layers of glazes and eventually making our highlight or shadow. So why is glazing useful? Well, with glazing, you can build up lots and lots of thin layers over time. So every thin layer creates a nice smooth transition between one colour and another. And because of those thin layers, it's quite hard to mess up because you're not putting much paint onto the model at one time. It's not like with layering where you're making clear defined moves between one paint and the next layer of paint and the next layer of paint. You're slowly building between many layers. So what isn't it so good for? Well, because it takes a lot of layers to create transitions, it can be quite tedious to build up those layers and take quite a lot of time to do. It's not really great for creating transitions over a large area. It's better for smaller areas like the shoulder pad. A few things to bear in mind. We don't want to flood the model, so that important part where we load up the brush and then we wipe most of the paint away onto a paper towel is really important because we only want to put a really thin amount of paint onto the model at any one time. And where we make those brush strokes, again, that's really important. We want to go from the dark area to the light area or vice versa if we're highlighting or making a shadow. That point where you take the paintbrush off of the model, that is going to be the place where the most paint is left on the model. So you don't want to take the brush off of the model in the middle of transition, because obviously that's going to leave the most paint in the middle of transition, which is not where we want it. We want that to either be in the darkest part of the shadow or in the brightest part of the highlight. So you can see on this example that I'm doing here on the shoulder pad, I'm slowly building up the layers and we're going to try and make a non-metallic gold effect. So here we've got a brown base and then we're going to build up the yellows to build up the highlights into a gold, and then eventually we'll go glaze down into the shadows to make the shadows and the contrast for the metallics. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be really great. I've put some affiliate links in the description below for products that I use when I'm painting. If you click on any of those links, then it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does give a little kickback to me and obviously helps me support the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.